Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk directly to those of you who are fighting the hardest battle of your lives. Whether you're watching this from a treatment center, from your bedroom, or at 3 in the morning wondering if tomorrow will be different. Or maybe you've got some clean time under your belt, but you're struggling to see the light at the end of the tunnel. This message is for you. I want to start by saying something that might sound simple, but I need you to really hear it. You are not broken. You are not worthless. You are not defined by your worst moments, your relapses, or the things you've done to feed your addiction. You are a human being with infinite potential, and the fact that you're here listening to this right now tells me that somewhere deep inside you still believe that change is possible. You know, addiction is a liar. It whispers in your ear that you're too far gone, that you've burned too many bridges, hurt too many people, lost too much time. It tells you that recovery is for other people, the lucky ones, the ones who weren't as deep as you, the ones who had more support or fewer traumas or better circumstances. But I'm here to tell you that addiction is wrong about all of that. The truth is that recovery isn't reserved for a special class of people. It's not something you have to earn or deserve. It's not dependent on your past or your family history, how many times you've tried before, or how dark things have gotten. Recovery is available to you right now, in this moment, regardless of where you've been or what you've done. But here's what I need you to understand. Recovery isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create through your choices, your commitment, and your willingness to do the hard work of rebuilding your life from the ground up. And yes, it's hard work. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. But hard work doesn't mean impossible, and difficult doesn't mean not worth it. The journey of recovery is really a journey of self-discovery. For so long, your identity has been wrapped up in your addiction. You've defined yourself by your substance of choice, by your using patterns, by the chaos and destruction that followed you around. But underneath all that, there's a person you may have forgotten existed, the real you, with dreams and talents and the capacity for joy and connection and purpose. Self-discovery in recovery means peeling back the layers of who you thought you had to be to survive, and rediscovering who you actually are. It means sitting with uncomfortable emotions instead of numbing them. It means learning to tolerate boredom, anxiety, sadness, and anger without reaching for your drug of choice. It means developing new coping mechanisms, new ways of thinking, new patterns of behavior that serve your highest good instead of your addiction. This process isn't linear. It isn't quick. There will be days when you feel like you're making incredible progress, when you can see clearly how far you've come and feel genuinely excited about your future. And of course, there will be the other days when you feel like you're back at square one, when the cravings are overwhelming, when you question whether any of this is really worth it. Both of those experiences are normal and necessary parts of the journey. The key is learning not to judge yourself for having difficult days, but instead to see them as opportunities to practice the skills you are developing. Every time you choose recovery over relapse, every time you reach out for help instead of isolating, every time you sit with discomfort instead of running from it, you're building the muscle of recovery. And let me be clear about something. Asking for help isn't a weakness. It's actually one of the strongest things you can do. For so long, your addiction and my addictions convinced you and me that you had to handle everything alone, that admitting you needed support was shameful or embarrassing. But the reality is that recovery is a team sport. The people who succeed in long-term recovery are the ones who build strong support networks and who aren't afraid to lean on them when things get tough. This might mean going to meetings, working with a sponsor, seeing a therapist, joining a support group, or simply having honest conversations with friends and family members who want to see you succeed. It might mean being vulnerable about your struggles, admitting when you're having a hard day, or asking someone to help you stay accountable for your goals. I know that vulnerability can feel terrifying, especially if you've been hurt by people you've trusted in the past. But isolation is addiction's best friend. The more you withdraw from meaningful connections with others, the louder addiction's voice becomes in your head. Recovery happens in relationships with other people who understand your struggle and believe in your ability to overcome it. Now, I want to talk about the concept of possibility, because I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. When you're in the depths of addiction, it can feel impossible to imagine a different life. You might look at people's recovery and think they're fundamentally different from you, that they had advantages you do not have, that their addiction wasn't as severe as yours. But here's what I've learned from talking to hundreds of people in recovery. There is no addiction too severe, no bottom too low, no history too dark to prevent someone from turning their life around. I've met people who've lost everything: their homes, their families, their health, their freedom, and who have managed to rebuild lives that are more meaningful and fulfilling than anything they've had before their addiction took hold. The key is understanding that possibility isn't about returning to who you were before addiction. It's about becoming who you're meant to be in spite of it. Your addiction, as painful and as destructive as it has been, has also taught you things about resilience, about the depths of human suffering, about what really matters in life. These aren't lessons you would have chose to learn, but they're lessons that can make you incredibly powerful in recovery. When you combine the hard-earned wisdom with a commitment to doing the daily work of recovery, amazing things become possible. I'm talking about rebuilding relationships that you thought were permanently damaged. I'm talking about discovering talents and passions you forgot you had. I'm talking about finding purpose and helping others who are where you used to be. I'm talking about experiencing joy and peace and contentment in ways that no substance could ever provide. But none of this happens overnight. And none of it happens without consistent effort. Rebuilding requires you to show up for yourself every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It requires you to make choices that serve your long-term well-being instead of your immediate comfort. It requires you to be patient with yourself as you learn new ways of being in the real world. Now, I know you're here because something inside you is ready for change. Maybe you're tired of waking up with regret. Maybe you're exhausted from the endless cycle of promises to yourself that you keep breaking. Maybe you've lost trust in your own word, and that hurts more than anything else. But here's what I need you to understand right now. You, yes, you are not broken. You are not weak, and you are not your addiction. Your addiction is something that happened to you. It's not something that defines who you are. It's a response to pain, to trauma, to circumstances that were often beyond your control. It became a survival mechanism, even when it stopped serving you. The person you were before this struggle, they're still here. The dreams you had, the values you hold, the love you're capable of giving and receiving, none of that disappeared. It got buried. Yes, it got buried. It got clouded over. But it's still there, waiting for you to reclaim it. Recovery isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been underneath it all. It's about peeling back the layers of shame, fear, and self-doubt that find a core part of yourself that addiction could never touch. Your journey to freedom doesn't start tomorrow. It doesn't start when you feel ready, when circumstances are perfect, or when you have all the answers. It starts right now, in this moment, with the simple recognition that you deserve better. You deserve peace. You deserve to live a life that aligns with who you really are. The road ahead won't be easy, but you don't have to walk it alone, and you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to take the next right step. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and I wish you all a very great week.